Welcome back to the Gen 20 podcast. I'm Nicole.
And I'm Marina. And today we're talking about how we're not good enough. To clarify, this is a feeling we all have. I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough to do X, Y, Z. And the idea that because of this limiting belief that you're not good enough, you just never give yourself a chance to find out. So, oh, I'm not good enough to finish this novel, so I'm just not going to write it. Or I'm not good enough to be hired by this job, so I'm not going to apply. And too often we think this way. It's demoralizing and defeatist.
Yeah. I think it's a way that we all put ourselves down without even trying. It is a little form of self-sabotage, I think. But I think that a lot of us, especially as women, have this narrative kind of written in our minds, especially from a young age, that we're just not good enough.
Oh, yeah.
And that we have to work harder and set higher expectations for ourselves than we do for other people. And that really holds a lot of us back.
Oh, yeah. And this concept of enough, if there's no concrete enough, so it's really arbitrary, which means you'll never get there, right? If for roller coasters, you have to be a certain height to ride that ride. And once you're that height, you're good to go. But if it was you have to be tall enough, what's enough? You never know. No one's going on the roller coaster, which, I mean, I don't really like roller coasters, so maybe that's a bad example, but.
No, it's a good comparison, I think.
But this narrative of enough, you set yourself down before you even get to try, so you don't get to find out the whole story. And so I know that I then change myself when I'm in social situations because I'm afraid I won't be cool enough or normal enough or likable enough. And then I become a version of myself that I don't recognize, not in a crazy way, I guess, but just I turn on. And secretly, I'm like, oh my God, I hope this person thinks I'm likable. I hope they don't think I'm weird. I hope they think I'm funny. I hope they think I'm smart. And I can't decide that for someone else, right? I can only do what's true and honest and authentic to myself. But it's really hard to let that be the case.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. And I think even professionally, I think that's probably a place that I struggled with it for the longest time, the feeling of not being good enough. I think recently I've been pitching myself a lot more to publications and I've
And you're
landed
killing it.
quite a few of them. Thank you. But I feel up until I guess a few months ago, I just kind of felt like I had to be a certain way, or my story wasn't going to be interesting enough, or I didn't have something valuable enough to add or to say. And maybe I'm not what the person is looking for all the time, but I am enough as I am and with what I have to share. And yes, there are tips and tricks that can help elevate you in these every kind of situation.
Yeah.
But I think it kind of really started with me reminding myself that I am enough and I have enough to offer, and really reframing that in my mind. It was very challenging, but to get over it, it's I just had to keep doing it and not count my quote unquote failures, but count my successes.
Yeah.
And just look at those and be very proud of them.
Oh my gosh, it's so hard. That reframe, I'm still learning it. For me, I started approaching it from, I saw this quote on a keychain of all things, and it really resonated. And it's wherever you are, there you are. And at first I thought about how, okay, when I move back to LA, I'll be happy. When I can travel again, I'll be happy. And then guess what? When I moved back to LA, I was still there. So I had to bring all these, I brought myself with me. And so I've decided to just let those fear and feelings exist, where it's yeah, I do worry about not being good enough, but I'm not going to let that stop me from pitching myself or reaching out to clients and trying new things, because I don't know the whole story. And if someone, this is a big one for me, I've been pitching myself more, and in the day of emails, you expect to get quick responses, but really you don't receive them. And so my brain was saying, oh, well, they didn't like your pitch. You're not a good enough writer. You are terrible, and you should just stop what you do and go live in a hole. And turns out the person who hadn't emailed me back for 4 months had a back injury and couldn't respond because they had to go on medical leave. It's like, I didn't know the whole story, but yet I'm telling
Mhm.
myself this narrative that's really belittling and hard
Mhm.
on me. And so we just talked about letting shit go, like letting go of this need to be enough and knowing that you are enough just as you are, flaws and all, is
Mhm.
such an important way to allow yourself to move forward. So move out of a frozen feeling, move out of a paralysis, and
Mhm.
just try.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know what I was thinking as you said that? Obviously, you can read my mind, so you know exactly what I was thinking now.
I do. Tell me more.
I was thinking that it's in like just the way that you told that story, that it's like you are the main character in your own story and you get to
Mhm.
say over everything that happens to you. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
maybe not what happens to you, but you have a say of how you react to everything
Yeah.
and what you allow to cross into your bubble. And that includes like the thoughts that you
Hmm.
allow to cross into your bubble. So like as we're reframing things and it's like, oh, this person didn't respond to me, like I must not be good enough. They must not be interested. Like, no, no, no. Stop right there. This is main character energy, okay? It
Hmm.
just wasn't
Hmm.
aligned. It's not a good fit for me at this time. And that's fine. Like
Yeah.
totally fine. And I think that it does take a lot of practice to overcome thinking this way and allowing those thoughts to like run your day, run your life, run your actions, your choices, your decisions, blah, blah. And I think that it's worth challenging them.
Yeah. And it can be, it's so hard to do a big scale all at once, right? But if you start really
Mhm.
small, like if you text a friend and they don't respond right away and your immediate thought is they're mad at me, try reminding yourself they're probably going through a tunnel or have no cell service or are crying on the couch to their therapist and they just can't respond right now. We don't know the
Yeah.
whole story.
Yeah. They have a
And
problem that's completely not related to you at all.
yeah, and I
Mhm.
have been practicing this as giving advice a lot lately, and I should take it too, but other people's opinions of you are none of your business, right? So
Mhm.
if they think
Mhm.
you're not good enough, that's something that they have to think about. It's not you. You
Yeah.
are
It's their problem, not yours.
yeah, like we've talked about this on the podcast before. We're all inherently worthy of good things and love and happiness, and we are all enough just based on the space we take up in this world.
Mhm.
And unless you're doing really bad things and harming people, you are good enough. And
Mhm.
you don't need to make big changes unless you want to make big changes for yourself. Because the
Mhm.
only person who matters, whose opinion matters, is your own. So if you
Mhm.
start the day and you're like, okay, I'm a little worried, but I'm really proud of myself for how I'm doing this or what I'm trying, that is enough. That's actually huge and you should celebrate it.
Mhm.
And I feel very passionately about this because I'm actively practicing it every day.
Yeah. Yeah, it takes a lot of daily practice and I think it's even enough to like remind you yourself to say I like this present tense um
Mhm.
mantras where it's like or affirmations, whatever you want to call it. It's like I am enough. I am good enough exactly as I am and also like you can also be improving in the same breath, another
Yeah,
side of the circle, I don't know. But it's like you are enough as you are right
yeah.
now.
And if you show up as you are, that's great. Like, you don't have to wait until you are a certain height or
Mhm.
weight or age or success
Mhm.
or income level to be happy, to be proud of yourself, to like or love yourself. You can just enjoy yourself for who you are and honor the growth you've made, the progress you want to make, and where you are right now. Like, you are
Yeah.
enough right now.
Mhm. Yeah. And you can show up exactly as you are and know that you're good enough and know that you're worthy and that you matter. And is that all we have to say?
That's all we have to say. And
Yeah.
this is a short episode so that you can listen to it every day until you truly believe and know in your heart of hearts that you're enough.
Mhm.
So you're
Yeah.
welcome. Well, this has been another quick episode of the Gen 20 podcast. If you're enjoying our season 4, give us a quick email or let us know what you think. And please leave a 5-star review. Thanks so much for listening. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.